Darek and Gallen talking about Mukla, and Casey finding a way to lose yet another game, even though he's not even playing that game today.
Yeah, it was quite impressive.
But that was a bit of a quick one there for Orange. So we're going to give you another match, which I believe is going to be Jarla versus Tyler. Two more of the stars of the year, if you like.
Yeah, this is just a backup match, but it's low-key one of the highest caliber matches we've had today, with Tyler being, I believe, guaranteed going to World Championships as the #1 point earner in Asia Pacific.
And Jarla's just a points machine. He just keeps racking them up. Yeah,
it's insane. I was just asking you, like, where he finished in terms of Europe, and while I can't remember where he finishes in relation to players like Seiko, who've also been getting a tremendous amount of points, he's way up there. He has just been churning out points after points, top 25 after top 25. He just grinds like Tyler.
Yeah, and he was a big part of Nordavind doing so well at the start of the season, obviously getting, Hunter Ace the massive amount of points. But you look at their points total like, oh, the other two guys must be good. Well, NTR didn't play so much earlier in the year. It was just Jarla just keeping up with him as best he could. Right, we are into game, what looks like number 2. It's going to be Shudderwock Mirror. Something always goes wrong when we cast Shudderwock Mirrors, Derek.
It's like the Twilight Zone of Hearthstone. It's just a weird matchup. You're obviously trying to turbo your Shudderwock activation as quick as possible. Is one of the main facet of this matchup. But there's also some other stuff going on in that you're trying to give yourself as reliable a Shudderwock as possible.
Yep.
You don't just want to play Shudderwock when you've only played 1 Chain Gang and 1 Grumble, if possible, because half the time then it just doesn't bounce back to your hand. It's a very finicky matchup.
Yeah, that forces you to try and draw more cards to ensure that stability. And sometimes, which doesn't look like it's going to happen here, you get the sort of Keleseth Zola start where it's just like, I'm just going to try and kill you because my deck suddenly became full of actual Hearthstone minions.
Yeah. And that style of play generally loses to the version that, if the other side gets a full Shudderwock combo nice and early, it doesn't matter how much you're tempoing out your minions, you'll generally lose anyway.
Yeah. It does tend to interfere with the other side, the idea being not that you're going to kill them with this white board, but that you're going to make them overload and stop them playing their mana-tide totems and just force them into not drawing the cards, so there's less chance of drawing the combo. But as you say, if you do draw the combo, we've seen it time and again, it doesn't really matter what's on the other side of the board because everything just gets frozen and stolen and eliminated.
And while in the later game, there's all kinds of little fancy plays that you need to be worrying about, like saving your Zola for Grumble so you can do it in the same turn, not playing your Hagatha to worry about hand size issues. That all comes later. Generally, in the early turns, you just want to draw cards. You just always want to draw as many cards as you can in the early turns to get, like you said, that combo going as quick as you can.
And if you get 2 cards off your mana tide, which it looks like Tyler's going to manage here, then you're in a great spot. And Jarla, really don't want to coin hex this.
That's what I was thinking. He could coin hex here.
The lack of plays is kind of terrifying.
Like, if Tyler's follow-up on the next turn is Chain Gang, then coin hex here is actually the only way to stop him from getting more than 1 card draw here. And Jarla realizes drawing cards is so crucial in this matchup. He's going to coin and hex on a minion that has literally 0 attack.
That's absolutely crazy. And then you do that and Tyler picks up the Shudderwock next turn anyway to put yourself in a great position.
Yeah. And that is exactly what I mean. This is the Twilight Zone of Hearthstone. The usual laws of physics just stop applying in this matchup because it is just so backwards. It's not about tempo and aggroing out your opponent and all the rules that you learn in Hearthstone. It's just about getting that combo going, not filling up your hand too much with useless cards, and trying to Shudderwock your opponent out of the game.
That's nuts. It's absolutely silly. And Jarla, as always, deep in thought right from the start. But that is why he does this, because he goes... Most people fleetingly look at coin hex and go, nah, that's a bit silly. Yeah. And Jarla just goes, actually, I'm going to take this suggestion seriously.
Yeah. And like I said, it's because the follow-up, like he could have gone for just an ooze on that play to, or a mind control tech on that turn to try and contest the Mana-Tide totem. But Chain Gang stops that completely. He had to hex there, or Chain Gang would have been so devastating for him.
So yeah, matching the 9 mana Shudderwock with a 6 mana Shudderwock for Jarla.
Yeah.
And he's actually in front again in the race now. He's picked that up.
Yes. What it means now, I think, is that a lot of the time in this matchup, you go Zola and then Grumble on the same turn, so that you have a 1-mana Zola in your hand, so that even if your Shudderwock doesn't bounce back a 1-mana Shudderwock to your hand, you go 9-mana Shudderwock, 1-mana Zola, and you get another go. You can kind of try again with the Shudderwock to get the Grumble to activate after the Chain Gangs and get a 1-mana Shudderwock back to your hand. But now that Jarla has a 6-mana Shudderwock, he can just do that. He can just go Shudderwock, even if it whiffs later on in the game, still go for a Zola to bounce another one back to his hand. Very strong indeed.
Meanwhile, they're just playing out their piece. This sort of minion battle again defies, keeps using the phrase, just defies the regular laws. This is just played out there because the quicker you play out your things that win you the game, the quicker you win the game. Strange how that works. And here we see this thing that happens that doesn't usually get anywhere because of all the removal in the deck.
Yeah, the Hagatha reduction is not that important for Tyler, I don't think. Because you don't really want to play Hagatha in this matchup if you can at all avoid it. That is, however, unless your Shudderwock fails and you're out of Shudderwocks, then you obviously need as much value as possible. But because Hagatha fills your hand with spells that you don't need to win the game, having free hand space to get Shudderwocks back to hand is generally deemed more important.
Yeah, and I think every time we've suggested, hey, look, the Hagatha looks good now, it never is. I mean, sometimes you have to. If you're under enough pressure, you might have to do it, but yeah, you don't want to ever be doing it.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, it generally used to be played a lot more when Murmuring Elemental was played, because then if your opponent played a big board of Shudderwocks, you'd go Murmuring Hagatha and deal 6 damage to everything to get the board back in your favor. But now in this matchup, 3 damage is less impactful, but maybe we see, because it's 5 mana now, Hagatha into Lightning Storm, all on the same turn to deal with a bunch of Shudderwocks. It's possible.
Yeah, these reduced cost cards are quite important. I mean, obviously they are, but the layout of them is going to cause surprises.
Yeah.
Like, Tyler won't be, obviously it'd be in his mind, it's possible, but you can't assume your opponent hits Shudderwock with their Farsight. That would just be silly.
Jarla decides to roll the Totem here, which he was clearly hesitant to do. Obviously, if he got Healing Totem, that's the worst case scenario because it's very difficult to then kill that off. Mana-Tide Totem, I'd say, is second worst. And also it's difficult to make it die.
He's a little bit behind on board, so he doesn't want his totems there because yeah, he's the one who might have to actually do a board clear at some point, so having more health out there just ruins your own Volcano.
Yeah, exactly. But if he had got a taunt or a 1-1, then it would have been pretty good. It's close.
And this is weird because Tyler's not exerting enough pressure for Jarla to care, but if you don't do anything about this, then the next minion he plays, you might care.
Yeah.
Except you've got MC Tech.
That's true. Like, the Lightning Storm there for Tyler, obviously, if he'd gotten a little bit more fortunate and just one of the Chain Gangs had 3 damage on it rather than 2, he would have been able to push a little bit more damage to face, and obviously his Electra would be at 3 health rather than 2. But it did feel like a very frivolous use of Lightning Storm.
I think that was the point. I think he's just dumping the cards out of his hand before the overload matters. It's, next turn's turn 8. What do you do on turn 8? Not a lot.
Yeah.
So just get that card out of your hand while you still can. Gives you a chance to Hagatha if you want to later as an option then.
I wonder if, like, I agree that if you deem Lightning Storm to be a completely useless card, just play it. Get it out your hand. I'm not sure if it is a completely useless card though.
Okay. Well, we will get to find out because these decks do go pretty deep, so we will get to a point later on where we go like, oh, he needs a Lightning Storm, or that won't happen, and then we'll know it was right to dump. Oh! The best card in the mirror.
Yeah, that is so important for Tyler to be picking up. This is the matchup that you want your Hemet for.
That's the only reason you bring a Hemet these days.
Pretty much.
Maybe against Druid as well, but you're really bringing it for this mirror.
There it is.
And now you trade off to avoid the MC Tech, and Tyler isn't just going to insta-win here, although he's in a fantastic position because he hasn't played much of use yet.
Yeah.
And remember, the Jarla does have this 6-mana Shudderwock, so it can just turn around if Jarla picks up a Grumble in a hurry.
Yeah, no
He's played all of his stuff.
No Chain Gang for Tyler either. I believe it's just a Life Drinker in terms of valuable battle cries, I believe.
Yeah.
Obviously, Mind Control deck could be important.
Yeah,
significantly less
Kellet's going to buff something by 1.
Oh, yeah.
Hooray. Yeah, you said the word relevant. And,
yeah. It's something.
They are the only relevant ones left. But that's what Hemet does. It just reduces the deck to that good stuff.
And Jarla, his mouse is hovering dangerously closely to Hagatha here because, I mean, it's not awful. It clears off a little bit of stuff, and you are afraid of just dying to what's on the board here, but I don't know. I feel like you just don't need to go for it yet. It's not that dire. If you get Grumble, it could just be game over already in your favor.
Yeah, because he has played basically all of the good stuff. He's played the Life Trigger, he's played the Chain Gang, as well as his own mind control tech and stuff. So he is in a decent spot.
Yeah.
And it's a big if, the Grumble occurs.
Wow.
Dark's getting excited. I like when Dark gets excited. That means the game's about to get exciting.
It's just so interesting because I absolutely defer to Jarla as being a stronger Shudderwock player than I am. And, you know, I can totally see the reasoning here for playing the Hagatha, because your opponent is going to have a bunch of minions hitting the board now. It's very scary, the amount of damage you're going to be taking. So generating some extra spells is perfectly good.
Yeah, the rules go out the window a little bit in terms of, oh no, my hand size. Well, oh no, I'm dead is a much more important rule to worry about. And you might not even win with combo versus combo. You might win by going super wide and Tyler running out of cards.
I wonder now as well if Jarla didn't play the Volcano last turn, even though it cleared off more damage, because he wants to go Shudderwock Zola on this turn, because his Shudderwock would make another Shudderwock.
Yep.
It would
freeze some bits,
freeze something,
some things in the way, maybe get lucky as well. Yeah.
Like it does something. He can play another one next turn.
Yeah, just challenge on board and then still have another one. And that's what it looks like he's going to do.
And also, it obviously has the 3 damage Hagatha battle cry as well.
Yeah.
And as long as you guarantee yourself a Shudderwock going back to your hand, which obviously he can with the Zola in his hand, I think this is really good. This is a really nice setup from Jarla to get a 1-2 punch with the Hagatha.
Yeah, Tyler's a little bit confused at this point, but you will see in a minute why this is going to happen. Yeah, this is fine.
Because now his Shudderwock in hand also has the Hagatha battle cry, the Zola battle cry in it. So maybe just one Shudderwock a turn could somehow lead him to victory. It seems very unlikely.
But it seems more unlikely if he didn't do it. That's the point, right?
Yes. Very cool play here.
Yeah, now Tyler has to really consider what on earth is going on. Because he doesn't really know if this play was speculative or if there's a backup plan.
Yeah.
Like, there might be a Grumble in hand. It's possible. It's probably not going to be, but if there is and you let this resolve, you are dead, basically.
So Tyler could just attack face and play the Hagatha there if he wanted to. Clearly, though, he is going with the more standard school of thought in Shudderwock, where you want to not play Hagatha if at all possible. Also, leaving other minions on the board is really good. That frog
it might get
Jarla's biggest nightmare.
It might get Earthshocked
here
very
by
Jarla.
Did, because if you leave it up, Shudderwock, the Zola effect that is stored within Shudderwock, could copy a frog back to hand, which, I don't know if you knew this, is a lot worse than Shudderwock. Fun fact.
Yeah. I saw Purple try to kill someone with a frog the other day.
Is this within Hearthstone or just out in the street?
I mean, both of those two things are entirely possible. And he got to the turn where he was about to draw the frog and the game crashed because his computer's a potato. And he never got to do it.
That's pretty funny.
Look at me.
We could, however, see Jarla turning this frog into something significantly more powerful through the use of the Stormbringer on this turn. Oh!
Shooty Tower, man.
Volcano on the Black Hell Gunspire is pretty sick.
Oh my goodness. That's disgusting.
Probably won't survive. It will probably get hexed because Tyler will realize.
Ever seen anyone have to kill a Gunspire before, though?
Nope.
Ever. And if Tyler does overlook it, and it's possible when you just sat there, this random card you have to think about.
Yep.
Oh my. If he misses this, he just eats the end of the game.
Well, how much damage would that actually do?
It does 24, but 24 it's random. It's spread up to minions as well. But the Volcano will be clearing other minions as it goes as well.
Right. Oh, man, that is so confusing. I think both players are having to read what this card actually does.
How could a card that can't attack possibly be the focal point of the entire game? A Tyler's like, I don't have to hex it. His eyes, it's just, I don't have to hex this thing, do I?
I mean, hexing it's really bad.
There's an 8/8 next to it.
Yeah.
He really doesn't want to do this.
My glory. How long?
Yeah, he's postponing the decision. No. Oh, and this is just...
I wake once more.
This is lethal.
That's just
he trades
lethal.
the 8/8s and just plays the volcano. If we've got this right, that's 24 damage.
He's counting it up.
He's just making sure that this does. He's reading the card. Yeah, he goes for what we're thinking is right as well. He's
Oh
going to
my
volcano
God.
his opponent for 24 face.
Tyler just gave Jarla, if you have Volcano, you win the game.
And Jarla can't believe it works. He's just reading it time and time again because he doesn't think Tyler would make this mistake.
Yeah, of course he can't believe it. It's insane.
Random enemy, yeah, not random enemy minion. Just double check it, triple check it, and boom, you're dead, Tyler. 2-0. And no one's ever seen this happen, surely. This is like something disguised Toast wouldn't
And
do.
look at Tyler. He knows that was a big mistake there. It wasn't like his opponent had to have some other randomly generated card. It had to be one card, of which he has 2 in his deck. Tyler just gave Jarla the win.
I have cast Jarla many, many, many times this year. And I think this is the most his face has ever cracked during a game. That was insane.
He is a very serious man, but even that has to crack him. That was just the most ridiculous game of Hearthstone I think I've ever seen.
So going back to turn 1, when we saw his Shudderwock versus Shudderwock, we did say that whenever we cast Shudderwock mirrors, something ridiculous always happens. And that
here
is
we are.
ridiculous. Every time.
And this is, surprisingly, it comes up very, very rarely in Hearthstone. Obviously not this exact scenario, but cards that enter into play randomly that aren't usually seen is a big weakness of most pros.
And it is where, when the design team talk about good randomness, that makes you think that's good randomness.
Yes,
that card
absolutely.
did not win him the game.
Yeah, Tyler
missing
up.
how the card works as a pro player won him the game.
Because why would you ever think about Black Hole Gunspire? If you're trying to finish top 25 every month, you can't dedicate brain space to cards like that that don't fit in tier 1 decks. Whereas I'm sure every Twitch chatter at home with their homebrew Gunspire
Yeah, I do this every day. Rank 18
is finally thinking,
my deck is the best. Meanwhile, though, Tyler now 2-0 down, but with a lovely looking start in this deck. Not the absolute nuts, in fairness, but the Keleseth on 2 is a lovely looking start. The rest doesn't ever matter.
Yeah.
He doesn't have any follow-up, though, in fairness.
Yeah, you really, really want the egg to get the damage rolling, or Katharina later on can make things very difficult. Whereas just a cube on its own is, I would say rarely enough to get the job done.
And also, Rexar's kind of slow. It's fine, you want it, but you don't want it in your opener, really.
Rexar, in this matchup, it complements the rest of your deck. It doesn't carry the matchup. You need to still have damage on the board and then use Rexar to push yourself over the finish line. It doesn't do it on its own. I still can't go over that last game.
I'm just thinking how these guys have had to reset their brains since the next game, and you and I still look at each other thinking about 24 damage from Gunspire bombs or whatever they are. It's like, and the way that Jarla himself had to check it like 7 times to make sure he'd read every aspect of the card. Yes, it is an enemy, not enemy minion, etc. Told you that card was good.
Did you?
I'm now rank 18, yeah. No, I didn't tell anyone that card was good. Tell you why.
Why? I quite agree.
Well, Jarla's making decent progression here. And Tyler should be able to at least organise an attack, though, over the next few turns. As long as Jarla draws respectably for 3 or 4 turns, though, he's going to be in a great spot. He can sort of deal with the immediate stuff.
Is that good enough, though? Like, just dealing with stuff from here on in, that's not game-winning against Shudderwock. You need to be a little bit quicker, I find. Because as soon as they get board control, not even necessarily in their favour, but just an even board state, Shudderwock is definitely in the lead then, I would say.
That's what I mean. If Jarla's now getting these Glacial Shards and Earth Shocks, he can just stall this out for some time.
Yeah. I think Tyler, the onus is most definitely on him to get the ball rolling, which, if he picks up Katharina in particular,
I want to see how
Even if
Jarla
just the
plays
Devil Soul
this Glacial Shard with the Katharina in mind, the Glacial Shard Zola stuff. Because you can freeze Katharina one turn, stop it from dying, then Zola the Glacial Shard again. There's no hurry to do it now on shore. I mean,
That's a good point.
It's an interesting thing to have to get rid of, is sure. But I think you just Earthshock this and maybe just chill. Take some small time damage now in return for preventing a lot of damage later with Katharina.
Oh, do you reckon it's Earthshock the... I think he might save back the Earthshock here and go for, on the next turn, Electra plus Lightning Storm, maybe with Earthshock on something that's cubed.
And he's actually going for the immediate stoppage of the damage.
And just getting stuff on board. Like, by having 2 small minions here, it means he can do the little bit of extra damage needed to kill something off after he goes for Electra Lightning Storm in the next couple turns. It is, however, pretty weak to Deathstalker Rexar.
Well, it is, but also the Houndmaster Shore's not doing any damage if you get Rexard there.
Yeah.
And that's probably in his equation as well.
True.
Now we might see everything. We might see Mana Tide, Glacial Shard, and Earthshock to make sure the Mana Tide draws more than one card.
Because Jarla, with Tyler having saved the coin for this long, I think Tyler is fairly certain that coin into Katharina is going to be the play.
Yeah.
I think that's a very logical assumption to make. Obviously, we can see that's not available right now. But it's interesting to see how he's setting up for that. Maybe he doesn't believe that, just playing out the Glacial Shard so he doesn't want to freeze something bigger.
Yeah, he just wants to get this extra card. I think that was the whole point of this turn, was just you can't charge unless you have a charge minion.
Yeah, fair.
And if I get an extra 1 card, I'm quite well advanced along the route.
Yes, and drawing a card is really, really good here, not only because it gets him closer to Shudderwock, but because it gets him closer to exactly Volcano, and Electra Volcano is a tremendous way of clearing up the board.
However, that thing that hunters do where they make all the shores and you lose, the crowd love it too, is just like, just so hard to deal with ever. And because he's used that Earthshock, things are a lot more difficult than they would have been as well.
And there it is, just going to be starting to try and generate some minions here, or just Electra Lightning Storm in the following turn, getting any way he can of trying to swing this board back, because all the while there are these few minions on board, Tyler can push that advantage by hero powering every single turn and building up a huge board of stuff.
Yep.
To make sure he always has a refill.
Stealthy stuff.
Just stuff. As long as you can throw it out on the board, that's good enough.
Yeah.
He probably won't play any of it this turn because he'll be afraid of mind control tech. But
he's got plenty. Yeah, he's got plenty for now anyway. He's in a hurry, but he's not in like super hurry.
Just medium hurry.
Medium hurry.
Like me trying to get here for the call time on time this morning.
And every morning.
Not a super hurry, even though I'm a bit late. Just medium hurry.
Watch Falk running off down the road. We'll just stroll along behind. So Jarla is now working out if he needs to just start going for random cards. But I think he realised last turn that was a likely thing he was going to have to do.
Yeah. He is now definitely going to be wishing that he had that Earthshock. Obviously, this board state would probably not look the same if he hadn't gone for the Earthshock on the last turn. In fact, it definitely would have looked different.
He just took the chance that he'd be able to get decent cards by sticking the Mana Tide. And I think he knew he was in trouble even when he did it. It's just like, okay, because of the point you made about the coin, he knew something bad was about to happen to him. But given that he knew that, he still went with the play of, okay, well, in the instances where I win, this sticks around a turn. And worst case is I get a card. Yeah, this is just playing for insta-walk. Sounds like a really cheap dinner.
Brand of noodles, yeah.
All right, Volcano helps a little.
That is a big old pickup to go in combination with the Electra.
Yeah, and the Hex as well. There's options to just Hex and blow everything up in some worlds here.
Yeah, still playing around the mind control tech, which is obviously why Tyler trades in a minion that doesn't have rush. It can still go through to face. But he just wants to keep that below the 3 minion threshold at all costs.
So Electro Volcano isn't a clear here?
Right. I couldn't remember if you were in the room where you were saying that. Just as a kind of public service announcement, I guess. I think in the most recent patch, whether it was intended or not, we have no idea.
It's in the patch notes.
Oh, it's in the patch notes. Right, okay, sorry, my mistake. Well, the new update with Electra is Death Rattle effects happen after both resolutions of the spell. So if Electra Volcano were to be played here, there would still be 2 Houndmaster Shores at the end.
And that is a change on how it used to work, which was do the first spell, then Death Rattle, then the second spell.
Yeah.
It's all part of the Electra now, not part of the Volcano, basically.
So a board clear here would have to be, I think, double Volcano or Hex Volcano. Which, again, well done, Jarla, for doing your homework.
Yeah, people have lost that way today by not doing their homework.
They have, yeah.
So... But here comes Katharina. It's just one thing after another for Jarla to deal with now.
Yeah, this is what you do. When you have nothing on the board, you stop with, your flimsy, decent plays, and you just play the biggest thing you can, which is generally Katharina when you can. Now, however, that Hex is looking pretty juicy.
Yeah, where's my Hex? There can't be many minions left for Tyler to pull off this Katharina, but Jarla doesn't know that. King Crush is in hand, Grizzly in hand.
I think that's it.
So,
unless he's playing an unusual 5-beast version, this is generally all the beasts you're going to be looking at.
That being said, what on earth do you do? I feel like you have to play a minion to try and get a card.
Perplexing.
None of your minions actually cut any kind of mustard whatsoever.
But just know that as soon as you let rip with your second Volcano, Tyler has all the signal he needs to just go ham on the board. He can just play 2 big minions every single turn, and you're not going to have an answer for it.
Yeah, he's got a handful of built beasts.
Yes, exactly.
And he's good. I mean, if you're against an absolute noob, you might hope they've got like loads of 10-mana beasts.
An absolute noob who might lose to Gunhouse Fire, for example.
For instance, yeah, I mean, that sort of trick would never work on Tyler, so...
Or Black Halcon Fire.
Shooty man Gunspire. Fine by me. Here comes a lot of damage.
Oh, an awful lot of damage. Tyler's saying, okay, you didn't clear the board. That doesn't mean I can go completely crazy on the board, but it does mean I can just start killing you on this turn. And now for Jarla, the play has to be trade in, which brings it down to 7. Hex Volcano, I believe, is an exact board clear. Because 7 and 7 and 1 brings you up to 15.
Sure. Yep. That works. But that doesn't...
Wait, what? Oh, he doesn't know there's no beast left in the deck. Okay. Oh, and he's got the Voltaic Burst left over. Okay.
Yeah, this is better than where he's at, you're right.
We're letting cast
but it's not fun. I mean, you're dead to any Hearthstone card, and Tyler has 10 of them. Well, he has like 3 of them and 7 that he made himself.
And now the big overload effect on Jarla means next turn, it's looking like it might have to be Electra plus Healing Rain, which is fine. It keeps him alive for a turn, most likely. But it's not a game-winning play. He needs something much more impressive.
He needs quite a few things in a row here.
He needs Shadow Up, basically, I think, to have any chance in this game. But then again, I don't think he's even played a Chain Gang.
I don't think he has
this
either.
Game, yeah.
It feels like it's just been a one-way tide of beasts. And this could just be it.
I didn't even clock that had charged on it.
No, nor me. He picks so quickly.
He does pick so quickly.
And there's so many of them.
As I suppose the option could be Electra Lightning... Oh, no, wait, you only have 7 mana. You couldn't go Electra Lightning Storm, then Healing Rain. It has to just be Electra Healing Rain.
So
Wow.
bad. Yeah, I mean, what could go wrong here? You're facing 13 plus a Flappy Bird plus a handful of cards.
Man, oh man. Especially as Cube Playdead could come down to give you 2 more charging Flappy Birds as well.
Yeah, that would really be painful, because one of them will eventually get Fury as well. Oh, Tundra Rhino.
Yeah, that's very, very nice indeed. I think that's the option he'll go for. You don't want to go for Bittertide Hydra into losing to Volcano for a second game in a row for the 24 damage through to face.
Yeah, I don't think he'll do that one again.
Mwah. I think there's actually
You're such a
Volcano's
cool
played
man.
already. That would just be so hilarious. Imagine if he lost to Volcano 2 games in a row. I mean, I think it's impossible for that to even happen, but still.
No, he's got Hagatha in play.
A man can dream. That's very true.
So it can definitely happen. We're not very nice people. We're sitting here thinking...
He's too high health anyway. He's too high health.
Play the Hydra, and then we go, come on, Jarla, draw the 2 drop to draw the Volcano. What's wrong with us?
I wonder.
I think Tyler knows that even if Volcano was generated and 10 activations fell on the Hydra in the biggest freak of maths ever...
And you hit in the face for 3, that's 30.
Oh, okay.
He can lose this turn, except he can't because the minion wasn't drawn. But a cheap minion...
If he goes Farsight into a cheap minion, generates the
Volcano, and then rolls a 1 in 5, 10 times, or 9 times out of 10 would do.
That has to be like less likely than winning the lottery.
Yeah,
Like,
it definitely is, yeah. Is it definitely? I'll wear that out later.
I'm sure you will. Basically, it's not going to happen.
It's not happening.
Yeah, as much as we can dream.
And if it does, even Tyler will probably laugh about it, because he's got a YouTube clip for life.
Yeah, I think what's far more likely is any chance of Jarla pulling this back comes in the form of Farsight into Shudderwalk. I don't think does it, even though you get the 3 damage
Farsight
Battle
into
Cry.
Glacial Shard doesn't do it.
No. I'm struggling to see anything, to be perfectly
I think you've got to Farsight and see what you can get, though. Maybe it's just the best thing that could happen. All right, Double Storm. Take 10, hurt your opponent.
Yeah, okay. It hypothetically keeps you alive if you win the 50
The other play was probably more likely. Yeah, gives it up. In which case you should have gone for it, for the fun and the memes.
Well, no, because he could have killed the wolf and then survived.
Sure.
There was a chance he wins 2-1 on that turn. But obviously, we can both agree. Even Jarla knows there, the chances of him winning were basically 0 as Tyler finally gets a win on the board that, to be honest, should have happened, I think, in the last game. We can all agree if there hadn't been a little bit of a brain fart, I think it's fair to say.
That is definitely the correct phrase for the situation. Jarla, 2-1 up, means he's got his priest and his druid, and only one of them has to beat the hunter.
Which is not that bad, actually, I would say.
Yeah.
Of all the control decks, Priest definitely has the best shot, I would say, up against Death Rattle Hunter. But even then, he's starting off with his tried and true deck. Talking to Jarla, he's just been playing nothing but Malagos Druid on ladder. That's it.
Interesting.
I think it was last month, not this month, but he was just saying that's all I play.
And he doesn't need to play priest ever again on ladder.
Exactly.
He's played that deck all year.
He has. He was just playing Malagos Druid. He got his top 25 with it. Job done.
Chat box opens up there.
Where's my wild growth?
Lol, hit you for 24.
Yeah, I don't have a volcano now. Don't worry, you're safe.
So yeah, just rifling through this deck.
I also want to point out, just in case anyone's wondering, I believe I've paid for my right to be a little bit mean to Tyler by being subbed to him for like almost a year at this point.
I've got
I've paid for my
many months
privilege.
of
He
Tyler
knows I love
subs,
him, so
and he is awesome.
yeah, we can rag on him a little bit.
And he will be the first, well, he won't be the first because we got there before he left the chair, but he will be the third person to say oops to that one.
That is a big oof. However, this game is looking decidedly more winnable.
Very much so, yeah. Talking big oof. Whew, there's a lot coming here
This hand is
in Jarla's direction. So, it's almost a forced mind control tech and hope. Not quite, but...
not necessarily. Like, now that the Plague has been picked up as well, you don't want to go for your swing turn until
the Plague.
After the Plague.
Yeah. I made this point earlier in a match, and it was really close call as well, but I think you do want to wait if you can.
It still doesn't quite work out though, does it? Because if you go Nourish for mana on this turn, you go up to 8 mana, which means you can't then go Plague MC Tech on the same turn.
You're in a lot of danger already.
Yeah, I think Jarla is... Wait, were you saying that about Jarla or a threat to me?
Oh yeah, Jarla's in a lot of danger.
Oh, okay, I'm not in a lot of danger.
No, you're fine.
Okay, good.
At the moment, you're bigger than me. Kind of. It's some metrics.
Won't ask which. I still think... I'm leaning towards the mind control tech now, if I'm honest. I think the fact that nourishing for mana doesn't allow you to go Plague MCT on the next turn is reason enough to go for mind control tech on this turn.
Sure.
If he had a wild growth in hand as well and could go nourish and wild growth on this turn, I think he would snap play it and then go Plague MCT on the next turn. But it's just too much damage if he doesn't go for the MCT on this turn, and obviously lost the 50-50.
Yeah, I mean, even worse, even if he takes the egg, it's not that ridiculous. I think that was the worst of the 4. But yeah, you need the 5/5s. That's what you needed there to trade the board away. Yeah. He has got a lot of stall, and he is a druid. Sort of 2 big things in his favour here. But he needs that stall. He needs it very, very soon.
I mean, he's starting to deal with this board.
Yeah.
Killing off a couple of things. But that's not really the
spell stones. That gets rid of 2 minions. Well, 1 this turn, 1 next turn.
Yeah. The problem isn't that he's not able to clear the board, because eventually he'll be able to catch this up. It's that he's taking too much damage in the process.
Yeah.
Because if he doesn't clear it up next turn, he's going to be met with Coin Katharina, which very likely summons out either King Crush or a Charged Devilsaur, and then he just dies.
Like, again, it's the evolution of decks, isn't it? This is what this deck was sort of built to do, what it's doing right now.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, what do we want the deck to do with the other 15 cards? And people have gone for the sort of basically control variant. There's probably a version of this where this is the top of your curve that you could build and just put loads of garbage in on 1 and 3 and sort of just kick people, but then you might as well just play Odd Paladin.
Yeah, well, there was
better at doing that.
That deck that Ball Control built, which I think was like a hybrid between Secret Hunter and Egg Hunter, and it just kind of... Oh no, maybe that was Admirable that did that.
It sounds more like Admirable.
It does sound more like Admirable, yeah. Someone did that, and it wasn't very good. Kind of want to do one thing or the other. But here, finally, Jarla, in one swift movement, starts to actually control the board, at least delay damage coming through to face, and stabilize his life total, which is a very, very big deal indeed, because if he can stop Coin Katharina into Charged Devilsaur or Crush connecting face, that's so big. Gaining the 7 or 8 health there makes all the difference in the world.
Yeah, here comes Crush, man. But not connecting face, like you're saying.
And it's worth pointing out as well that Jarla could have gone for spiders there. Taunts wasn't necessarily the easiest of choices, because your opponent is going to be making big minions in the next couple of turns, against which spiders are usually good. But I think we can both agree he would have just taken too much damage had he gone for spiders instead of taunts.
And it does look over for Jarla. It looks like he's just not going to get this done. But it is worth pointing out as well, look at Tyler's hand. He can remove a minion, he can put a death rattle, and that's it. He's just out of
all in.
Gas. Yeah, he's... If Jarla can somehow withstand these next 2 or 3 turns, which I don't think he can, but the point being, if he somehow does, then he can get out of this.
Tyler is all in. Thankfully for him, though, this board is stupidly powerful. Like with what, 24 damage, sorry, 24 health available to Jarla.
He has like Ferocious Howl into spreading Plague with... He's thinking about playing the second time at next turn, not this turn. I think you need it now. There's a lot of stuff going on there.
Yeah, so I think if Tyler goes for Play Dead on his Katharina, that's a 50-50 for lethal, because half the time he gets Devilsaur, Charged Devilsaur, and Jarla dies. The other half he gets the second Witchwood Grizzly. Oh, so maybe if he goes play dead on... Oh, no, sorry. He can't sacrifice off his Katharina because then he loses
6.
the damage.
Yeah.
Yep. But I think it's not a ridiculous way to start the turn, where you just win half the time.
Yeah, just play your play dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what he's going to do. Do you win half the time? Yes, you do. Is this the half? No, it's not. Now you've got to work out what you want to do.
And, you know, this is kind of a game of Hearthstone now.
Yeah, I want to see one more turn out of Jarla before I'm going to commit to that.
Yeah. I agree. It's still looking very, very good for Tyler.
But you're right, it's gone from absolutely dead to maybe he can clunk away through.
Now.
Because these spreading plagues are going to buy a lot of time. Jarla can Ferocious Howl for some armor. I mean, I'm reaching on purpose to try and find ways, but those are the ways.
It's an interesting decision here by Tyler as well to not play Prince Kellaseth before he goes for Katharina. It seems pretty clear he doesn't want to, but I was going to say, even if he did want to, it might have been better to play it after, because he has lethal with the Devil Saw anyway, and giving your bear +1/+1 means that the 4/4s can sacrifice into it, so the plague gets bigger, if you see what I mean.
Yeah, I do.
So, I mean, he didn't want to play it anyway to play his plague, so it's not really a relevant point.
A tangled web.
The mind control tech might be very important here as well, because it will remove either a taunt or just a thing.
That's true. That's very true.
Be a big deal.
And, I mean, Crimea River, Druid doesn't have enough mana, but Jarla doesn't have enough mana here to do everything he wants to do. He needs to be able to play Plague and Dream Petal on the same turn to really have any.
Yeah.
Because a big Mali swing turn is his avenue back into this game, and he doesn't have time to do it, I don't think.
People everywhere, hearts bleeding.
Hey, there we go.
1 million damage. That's just the noise you need to hear, isn't it, when you're getting demolished?
Yeah, bit of a cheesy victory there for Tyler at the end, but we can both agree he was pretty much in that spot, with or without the Mossy Horror off the top.
It's kind of amazing he got that far, Jarla.
That's true.
But going into this last game, and this matchup's sort of always been around 50-50, but I still kind of think the Priest is slightly favoured.
I feel like when I hear people saying Priest is favoured in this matchup, at first it was because, you know, you would assume Death Rattle Hunter is favoured, so people would feel very smart when they go,
I agree.
Priest is actually favoured.
That's fair.
You know, I think that's maybe people were starting to say it was more favoured for Priest than it actually is.
Yeah.
I definitely agree it's very close, and there is obviously a very clear avenue to victory for
And
the
here it
Priest.
is.
But, like, Hunter doesn't have to play into Psychic Scream that heavily to win the game. It can just play a few big minions in the first few turns, follow up with Katharina after the Psychic Scream has come down.
But the Psychic Scream and doing double punch is a big deal.
Big deal. I agree. Very, very big.
Because now you can't make that work so much.
Yes.
Now the interesting thing is going to be here is Jarla's kept 2 cards. He's going to do nothing for 6 turns. That's a big giveaway as to what's going on. And that's another piece. The times we've seen the Priest win this, sometimes you just go Psychic Scream into Anduin, into Alex you, into kill you. Like, that's how the deck was built originally, is just to do that.
But if like you say he's not going to do anything, I don't think you're meaning to imply he made a mistake by keeping those 2
he's
cards,
going to
because
yeah.
What do you do in the early turns? Dustbreaker, brilliant. You just popped their egg for them. Well done, you. Twilight Drake, I think, is the thing you would be looking for most after Psychic Scream and Anduin, just as a minion to develop in the early turns. Oh, but that egg pickup is real nice for Tyler.
Which of your minions would you like to play, Jarla?
I mean,
would
maybe
you like to make the
he does
egg
just
chicken?
play the Dustbreaker.
Would you like a 2/3 egg? To my 0-4 acolyte.
Yeah.
So if you play the Dustbreaker, it does get rid of a lot of the associated nonsense, but I think I just like doing nothing. What's the pressure? Then nothing's happening to you.
Like, egg on turn 3 is very different to coin egg on turn 2.
Yes.
Because if your opponent goes coin egg on turn 2, they have the Terrascale Stalker pretty much every time. I think it's fair to say. Otherwise, they wouldn't bother going coin egg. Whereas just egg on turn 3, you're thinking, okay, I can pretty much rule out Terrascale, or they would have gone coin egg, or they just got the egg off the top, I suppose. It's close, it's close. And maybe he wouldn't even want to pop the egg, even if there was the Death Rattle activator.
So Twilight Drake buys a bit of time here, because you've kind of got to deal with it.
Yeah.
And then the Geist buys a bit more time, because it's a decent enough minion.
Yeah.
Maybe you can force Tyler to go a little bit wider than he wants, but Tyler's not going to fall for that. I know we've had a bit of a joke about the Shudderwock game, but that was a situation that anybody could miss, to be fair. You shouldn't, but you can.
Yeah.
But this one, Tyler's not going to just walk into a Psychic Scream or something without thinking long and hard about the odds, especially after Jarla kept 2. There's not much else you want to keep, there really isn't.
Weird turn here as well for Jarla, because obviously he was most heavily flirting with the idea of the Acolyte that we see here, just swapping the attack with the Devil Sword, because it massively reduces the amount of damage you're going to be taking.
Yep.
And that is by far the most scary thing for Jarla right now, I would say. He's not afraid of Tyler going nice and wide on the board, because Scream deals with that beautifully. What he's afraid of is too much damage coming in before he plays Psychic Scream, because then he dies to coin Katharina into King Crush.
I do think it now tells Tyler exactly which 2 cards Jarla kept, if there was any doubt. Because now the Acolyte says you're not scared of a high health minion, high attack minion.
Okay.
So I've got Anduin.
Yeah.
And you know I've kept Scream because you have.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that Tyler can do much about it.
Yeah. I mean, if Twilight Drake wasn't played on 4, which I think you would keep Twilight Drake in this matchup.
Yes.
What else could it be?
Yeah, it's either 2 Screams or it's Scream Anduin. And
yeah.
I think now you've got to tell which one it is. I might be reading too much into it, but you know it's Scream. You know one of those cards is Scream. That's like 100%.
And Tyler here is very happy to play around that Psychic Scream by trading not 1 iota. He knows if his board's going to be screamed, let's get that extra 4 damage through to face, because having a Geist shuffled into his deck, it's not that bad. You'd rather get the 4 damage through to face, I think, every time.
Now, the interesting thing is here is we've been talking all the time about like the follow-up after the Scream being pretty devastating and needing Anduin. None of that's actually transpired.
That's true.
Like, Tyler has a handful of mini-minions, and Jarla has a really good follow-up of his own with his own Twilight Drakes and such like. He's actually got real minions he can play. And Tyler has played a 4-attack minion.
That glorious OK hand sweet spot. Playing perfectly around the on-curve Anduin, because I think I totally agree with you. Tyler will have the read that that's maybe Psychic Scream, but very possibly Anduin.
Jarla was a little bit upset when he picked up this Cabal Shadow Priest. Remember, he saved just a little bit of health earlier. Well, he saved 5 with the Acolyte, which is a lovely combo for this for later. And one of the very few ways you can deal with this thing.
Yeah.
Obviously, Anduin being the other, because the second another minion is played, you just destroy it, and then Anduin comes to play.
Look at that clicking away. This shows irritation to me from Jarla. He is not a man who is easily phased at all.
It shows that he's still full of energy. Oh, there it is.
Quickly.
You have to think just for a second there about how his Alex Straza is going to interact with Mind Blast.
Yeah. I was thinking for a second what you meant by there it is. And,
right.
I agree. Scream is more likely to get the job done here. Hope that they overcommit into it. But the fact that you just went visions into something, makes Tyler think you're digging for something very heavily in particular. And what are you digging for very heavily in particular in this matchup? Psychic Scream.
Yeah. Especially when you just played a minion that can't be hurt by man or beast. Well, it can be hurt by beasts because it gets bigger and then Anduin blows it up. So,
oh, right. Got you.
You know. This thing's going to get a bit fruity.
As I believe that was a charging Crackling Razormaw as well, which means this amount of damage is very scary indeed coming in for Tyler. He's banking on the fact that even if there is Psychic Scream into Hero Power Heal, King Crush closes things out. This is a lovely setup from Tyler. However, we can see Psychic Screen into Divine Him is pretty much, I think, the only combination of cards that could keep Jarla alive here.
Yeah.
And even then, it's really close to him just dying.
It is, although obviously Anduin gave you the 5 and such like.
It's not over either way.
I must consider. I can't do that.
And this has been an amazing matchup. Like, we seem to have had everything. This game seems to have been going on for a long time. I don't think it has. It's just been there's just so much jammed into it.
Jarla knows exactly what's up. He's not falling into an easy trap like just good old King Crush on turn 9.
The trap of the most obvious minion in the entirety of Hearthstone.
Well, you ideally want to save Divine Him for a more valuable use, maybe drawing off of the Northshire Cleric as well. But yeah, I mean, I'm praising him for what is a pretty easy play. As once again, Tyler is saying to Jarla, it's not good enough to just heal up with your hero power. King Crush is threatening lethal, which means, again, Jarla has to find an answer.
And your Anduin still can't do anything. Yeah. Tyler's played this really nicely around that stuff.
We can see Divine Him. Wait, how much health does he have to get above? There's 9 damage with King Crush, hero power.
And he needs to get to 14, I think. You can kill one of the minions.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Which means he needs to get up to 13,
right? He takes... Oh, King Crush is only 8. I always think it's 9 because it always comes out after Keller's death. I know it's 8. It says 9 on there, which...
I wonder...
Which is going to be difficult for Jarla to do. Like, he can survive on this turn by going Dustbreaker, Divine Him, hero power.
Sure. And then... Do you think he's
thinking
about Massive Spell?
Well, I think he's thinking about Twilight Drake because he might be coming to the conclusion, I never beat King Crush anyway, so let's pretend he doesn't have it.
And there's been a few turns where Tyler wouldn't probably have, but could have played King Crush, so there's a chance he hasn't got it as well.
He's thinking very, very, very heavily about it.
And I think this is the right play. It's going to cost him the game, so obviously that statement sounds a bit weird, but... There were situations where Tyler could have made the King Crush, got you down to 2 there, and he turned those down in favour of playing around Anduin.
Yeah.
But I think the mulligan was the bit there that Tyler got so much information he was able to just tiptoe around that the whole game. And after a crazy back and forth, Cora, what did you make of that?
Yeah, nothing's better than watching Jarla have to read Black Howl Gunspire like 3 or 4 times before it finally registers that, yes, this is lethal. And Tyler just completely not thinking about it. That was just wild.
I think he got to like the 3rd turret fire before Tyler went, oh, well, this is happening.
I've not seen a better Stormbringer, I think, ever.
Yeah.
But I thoroughly enjoyed it. That was a lot of fun. And Tyler ends up being able to come back from that little mishap and actually takes the series in Game 5. So unfortunate for Jarla, but he does get reverse swept by that Hunter deck. And it just seems like if you're not bringing a particularly aggressive lineup, Hunter just kicks your butt.
Yeah.
It is so strong in Last Hero Standing. In Conquest, you can afford to not ban it because it can only beat you once. But in Last Hero Standing, when you're forced to pick between Titans like Druid and Hunter, and you don't ban the Hunter, sometimes it's going to come back and it's going to get you, like it just did for Tyler against Jarla there. But that is going to be our final series of the day. 5 rounds of Swiss in the books. Tomorrow we are going to have 4 more rounds, and then we're going to cut to the top 16, play through 1 or 2 of those matches, time depending. But tomorrow is going to begin 1 hour earlier, so we kick things off at 10 a.m. Central European time right here. Thank you so much for tuning in. Special thanks to Corsair for making this event possible, as always. We will see y'all at 10 a.m. CET tomorrow morning. Until then, have a great night.